Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for me to do some drinking. Interesting thing about drinking is you're not supposed to do it alone. Drinking in solitaire is considered a negative, and why is that? Well, if you're drinking enough, you may pass out. Now, I've made sure to eat something before having this experience with, for lack of a better term, my audience. And I'm only having one drink. So yeah, the amount of alcohol does make a difference. This came out of the dishwasher and it still ain't clean. I don't know. Ain't gonna make a difference. Can't open these things with your hands. It was one of those concepts when I used to live with my family. Had a family member who would drink all of your alcohol while you weren't there. And of course, this... Still waking up. Slept for like 12 hours, but I'm still waking up. Just so you guys will know, I bought a whole bunch of these things some years ago, and they are a Christmas sort of a thing. They're meant to look like Christmas ornaments, and I have to use them up. This is the last one. Also, for you to know, for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from 4Ocean. 4Ocean pulls a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. Long-term watchers will know all the things I do. But yeah, I am creating this sort of, here it is time for me to talk. Here is my alcohol. Because I need to use up alcohol, I drink so rarely that I have things that are getting too old. And I have certain things that once you open them, you have to finish them. Clearly, the Sky's vodka will sit for years. It's a reasonable enough quality of vodka. I wouldn't call it great vodka, but it's good enough. And yeah, but I have my review blog. I have juice to review for my review blog. Once I open that juice, it is only going to last so long, and sometimes you need a little kick to get through it because I look for the weirdest juice I can find. So, that said, bitter. Lemony and bitter. I think it's a lemon drop. Not marked for individual sale. Alright. So, as said, I did not mean this to be a conversation on alcohol, but I realize I should probably have that conversation with alcohol because I've been batting it around in my own head for a while. Yeah, if you're going to have one drink, it's probably just fine to drink alone. The more you drink when you're alone, the less fine it is. I remember I knew a man. Our friendship did not last all that much longer than this event, but quite frankly, I should have stopped being friends with him long before then. He lost his job. He had a really good job, and he lost his job because they wanted to get somebody cheaper. It's just that simple. So I would come over to his house to cheer him up, and we would drink. And I was not a drinker at the time. I never had been a heavy drinker. I drank very rarely. It was when I got introduced to Bailey's Irish Cream, and so on and so forth. And, it's like, yeah, even though his wife was present on property, he felt better having somebody there to drink with, someone to share his misery with. And, of course, if one of us did happen to drink too much and pass out, the other one would be there to make sure he didn't choke on his own vomit. It was just, that's one of the things about drinking alone. It's not something you should do. But further along the lines, when you drink alone, you stew in your own juices. And it's bad for you mentally. Whereas if you have friends with you, and you drink, you're hopefully having a positive experience that chips away at the pain, which would be the root of your drinking. Some people drink just to drink because they love the feeling, and I've met those people. And some people drink because they want the pain to go away. The worst case of amnesia, one of the worst cases, I mean, there's no the worst case of amnesia, but one of the worst cases of amnesia ever recorded in human history was a naval soldier during World War II. And he drank so much that he destroyed the part of his brain that creates memory. And that's something drinking will do, or something alcohol does. I believe it's a vitamin. I don't remember which at the moment, but it's a vitamin that alcohol tends to rip apart, and it impacts memory. And, he drank so much that part of his brain died, essentially. So he couldn't remember anything. He had a short-term memory only, and he could remember anything that happened up until the death of Roosevelt. And if you asked him, he still thinks we're in the middle of World War II. He thinks Truman is at the helm. And, I mean, he thought that until the day he died, many, many decades after the war. And that's just who he was. So alcohol can be dangerous. But understand something, anything can be dangerous if you excess. There was a man who apparently died, and I've seen a couple of references to this. I've seen a reenactment of this. He died because he overdosed on beta-carotene. He took beta-carotene supplements, he drank carrot smoothies, and he just went all out with beta-carotene. And eventually, it destroyed one of his organs, and he died. That's one of those things, the excess of anything. But yes, alcohol. If I limit myself to drinking while I'm here in front of the camera, it takes longer to drink, and it means that I have to think about each drink, and it makes it a lot harder for me to consume vast quantities of alcohol. So it slows it down and makes it safer. And I'm saying this to the lot of you, if you can. We are suffering an epidemic of loneliness, but if you can, find somebody to drink with when you drink. Drink responsibly and know your limits. But yeah, I once had a guy who he wanted to drink with me, but he would go through an entire bottle on his own and want to keep drinking. And he's the kind of guy that would wind up, face down in a river. And his thing is like, I know you've got better alcohol. It's like, dude, we don't start with your cheap booze and go to my good alcohol. That's not how it works. We don't start with my good alcohol and go to your cheap booze either, because I'm not a drunk and this ain't a party. Okay, one of those things. And yeah, I mean, there are people that do that, but you know something? I've never had a hangover. I never want to have a hangover. I've had experiences that were hangover-like, and I hated them, and they were painful, and I remember, it was something to do with my inability to sleep, and I would scream from the pain. And look, I can take a lot of pain. I remember when my family got one of those shock lighters. They said, you have to push real hard on this lighter, Richard, make it work. And I pushed as hard as I can, and it shocked me. And I didn't scream. And they go, doesn't that hurt? I go, yeah, it hurts a little bit. And so I could take a lot of pain. I could take a lot of pain, but that was pain that was really, really incredible. So that's sort of the message for the day. Drink responsibly, try to drink with people. Yes, drinking can be a positive, beneficial experience for you in your life, but it's not that you drink, it's how much you drink. And it's like this is a hard alcohol. If I were sitting down to dinner after work and I decided to pour myself this volume of wine, perfectly acceptable to do that alone. But if I had whiskey in that glass, drinking alone would probably not be as beneficial for me, because that's a hard alcohol and there's a lot of it. This is just one shot. You're fine. This is a Christmas shot glass, says cheer on it. Most of these are broken. Got them more than 10 years ago. From Target, I believe. But, for the most part, I just use them to measure alcohol. I never take shots out of them. But then, I live alone. I don't have anybody to drink with. Anyway, I'm Richard. Roar! Danger Ducky says, it would be unbearable if you don't comment, like, and subscribe.